My dear friend, you are most welcome on my three channels. Today we will discuss about the siege of Anukreza and why our beloved Prime Minister Modi cannot be equal to the a sixth king of the Babylonia who produced a memorandum of that is known as क्या है known as Lexistrai ये. So my main part is depend on what is what is what is the ideology for the Islamic invaders. We should know that what we have to done against the Muslims as the Muslims are doing against us. According to Islam, the Muslims can kill the non-Muslims throughout the world. And this is why this Pahalgam attack is a chain or the series of the criminology which is certified in Islam. You see, Muhammad always devastated the people, and because due to our slackness or laziness, the government of India always weakened against the Islamic doctrine or Islamic ideology. You see, this is the third Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, who had given so many prizes or the Eid for the Muslims. There is no concept of Muslims that the Pasmanda or the backward Muslim. Muslim is always Muslim. He is always certified terrorist. What should do against this ideology? You see, what was the character of so-called Prophet Muhammad? The continuing feud between the Awas and Khazraj was probably the chief cause of several emissaries to invite Muhammad to Yathrib in order to adjudicate in dispute cases. Ibn Ishaq recorded that after his arrival in 622, when Muhammad went to Medina, he was dragged out from the Mecca due to his treacherousness. Muhammad established a compact, the constitution of Medina, which committed the Jewish and Muslim tribe to mutual cooperation. Though the Muslim numbers were very few against the Jews, Jews were in large number, but due to the treacherousness of the Jews or some backbiters in the Jews, the Muhammad was empowered against the Jews majority. As we in the India, the majority of Hindus are divided in so many castes and creeds. You see, even the Ahir community is aligned with the Muslims. According to the Islam, all the Yadavs are also filthy and below the beast and just like the pigs. Not only Yadavs, but all the community or Hindu communities are alike before the Muhammad or Muhammad ideology. That is known as Islam. The Muhammad treacherousness came. The nature of this document, which is Constitution of Medina, as recorded by Ibn Ishaq and transmitted to by Ibn Hisham, his son, is the subject of dispute among modern historians, many of whom maintain that this treaty is possibly a college of agreement of different dates, and that is not clear when they were made. What holds that Qurayza and Nadir were probably mentioned in earlier version of Constitution, requiring the party not to support enemy against each other. But when Muhammad came to Medina, he a well proverb in Hindi, बंदर बांटे रोटी और सारी बिल्लियों का हिस्सा खाए. अगर बिल्ली बंदर को अपना जज बनाएंगी तो वही हाल होगा जो यहूदियों का हुआ था. Aside from the journal agreement, there are chronicles by Ibn Ishaq and Al-Waqidi contains a report that the after of After the arrival of Muhammad, signed a special treaty with the Qurayza chief Ka'b bin Asad. Ibn Ishaq gives no sources, while Al-Waqidi refers to Ka'b bin Malik of Salima, a clan hostile to the Jews, and Muhammad ibn Ka'b, the son of Qurayza boy, who was sold into slavery in aftermath of siege and subsequently became a Muslim. The sources are suspected of being against the Qurayza, and therefore the historically of this agreement between Muhammad and Banu Qurayza are open to grave doubt. Actually, the Islamic scholars are trying too hard to conceal the wickedness or the criminology so-called prophet. He was so filthy and dirty man by nature. He always killed the non-Muslims and always tried to the rape with the non-Muslim woman for fulfill his lust of sex. He was sexy, lusty, and he always appeased his lust by hook and crook or by any mean. However, he was climbed on his son's wife, which was adopted son, the wife of Zaid bin Harith. The name of the wife was Zainab. When Muhammad went to his house, he saw that her posture was unclothed. She was almost naked. Muhammad embraced the willing of the lust or the sexual desire with Zainab in his dirty mind, and he rode upon the Zainab. This is the character of Muhammad. So Muhammad was a wicked person who always tried to disintegrate the Jews. As we are well aware that the whole Arabic continent was full of the Jews. There were Jews in majority, but after arrival of Muhammad in Medina, the Muhammad disintegrated or divided the Jews in many parts, and most of the Jews were converted to Islam by the fear of the sword, because the vagabonds, the criminals were the companion of so-called Prophet Muhammad. He was a filthy man. He was certainly a najas. He was not the holy, but a unholy. This is why Muhammad always treated the non-Muslims as inferior to the Muslims. Even the looters or the robbers, as were the Muslims during the time of so-called Prophet Muhammad, were superior than to those Jews or the Christians who were not believer in the robbery, killing the Muslims, and rape with the Muslim women. But in spite of this so-called prophet, he must be a good person, but he always protected the war elements and war ideology against the Jews and the Christian and the non-Muslims. He became a grand rapist, the biggest rapist of that area. He and his companions were the certified rapists. It has been described so many hadiths. As I told you that in Sahih Muslim, book number 13, so many hadiths reflects or reflected this, that the Muhammad was a certified robber. He was a certified rapist and a pedophile. Pedophile means a person having old age was eager to maintain sexual relation or to maintain sexual relation to fulfill his sexual desire with the children, the female children, as the Aisha bint Abu Bakr. During the first few months after Muhammad arrived in Medina, the Banu Qurayza were involved in a dispute with Banu Nadir. The more powerful Nadir rigorously applied lex talionis. Now I will show you what it means lex talionis and why this Narendra Modi ji was not using this sally which is known as lex talionis. NI for NI. This is the biblical Hebrew, is a commandment found in book of Exodus. You know, Exodus is the chapter of the Bible, the Old Testament. Exodus chapter 21, verse 23, 27, expressing the principle of reciprocal justice, measure for measure. The earliest known use of the principle appear in the Code of Code of Hammurabi. Who was the Hammurabi? We will told you about this. This is why the Jews are fighting against the Muslim, the following the NI to N open I. The Code of Hammurabi is a Babylonian legal text composed during 755 and to 750 BC. It is the longest, best organized and best preserved legal text from the ancient Near East. Near East means including the Mesopotamia, Iraq, Iran, Anatolia, and the adjoining area, Jordan, etc. It is written in Old Babylonian dialect of Akkadian, purposely by Hammurabi, sixth king of first dynasty of the Babylon. The primary copy of text is inscribed on a basalt stele. Then we will go to the Hammurabi. Hammurabi, who was the Hammurabi? Hammurabi was between 1810 BC to 1715 BC. Means 1810 BC or 1750, 60 years almost. Also spelled Hammurabi was the sixth Amorite king of the Old Babylon Empire, reigning from 792 to 750 BC. He was preceded by his father Sin Muballit, who abdicated due to failing health. During his reign, he conquered the city-state of Larsa, Asunna, and Mari. He ousted Isme Dagan, first the king of Assyria, and forced his son Mut-Askur to pay tribute, bring almost all the Mesopotamia under Babylonian rule. Hammurabi is the best known for having issued the Code of Hammurabi, which he claimed to have received from Samas, the Babylonian god of justice. Samas means sun god. Unlike earlier Sumerian law codes such as the Code of Ur-Nammu, which has focused on compensating the victim of the crime, the law of Hammurabi was one of the first law codes to place greater emphasis on the physical punishment of the perpetrator. It prescribed a specific penalty for each crime and is among the first code to establish the presumption of the innocence. They were intended to limit what a wronged person was permitted to do in a retribution. The Code of Hammurabi and the Law of Moses in the Torah contain numerous similarities. Hammurabi was seen by men as a good god with his own lifetime. After his death, Hammurabi was revered as a great conqueror who spread civilization and forced all peoples to pay obeisance to Marduk, the national god of Babylonians. Later, his military accomplishments became de-emphasized and his role as the ideal lawgiver became the primary aspect of his legacy. For later Mesopotamians, Hammurabi's reign became the frame of reference to all over events occurring in distant past. Even after the empire he built collapsed, he was still revered as a mortal ruler, and many kings across the Near East claimed as an ancestor. Hammurabi was rediscovered by archaeologists in the late 19th century and has since been seen as an important figure of history of law. Hammurabi ascended to the throne as the king of minor kingdom in the midst of complex geopolitical situation. Hammurabi was Amorite first dynasty king of city-state of Babylon and inherited the power of his father Sin Muballit in 1792 BC. Babylon was one of the many largely Amorite ruled city-states that dotted the central and southern Mesopotamian plains and waged war on each other for the control of fertile agricultural land. Though many cultural coexist in Mesopotamia, Babylonian culture gained a degree of prominence among the literate class throughout the Middle East under the Hammurabi. The king who came before Hammurabi had founded a relatively minor city-state in 1894 BC, which controlled little territory outside the city of itself. Babylon was overshadowed by older, larger, more powerful kingdoms such as Elam, Assyria, Isin, Ashurna, and Larsa for a century or so after his founding. However, his father Sin Mobalith had begun to consolidate rule of the small area of south central Mesopotamia, now known as the Iraq. Under the Babylonian rule, and by the time of his reign, he had conquered minor city-state of the Borsippa, Kis, and Sippar. The powerful kingdom of Ashurna controlled the upper Tigris River, while Larsa controlled the river delta. So Hammurabi is the great, not only the great kingdom, but what is his code? Code of Hammurabi. हम देखिए, the top of a steel feature and image the relief Hammurabi with Samas the Babylonian sun god and god of justice. Below the relief are about 4,130 lines of the cuneiform text. 1/5 contains a prologue and epilogue in poetic style, while the remaining 4/5 contain what are generally called the laws. In the prologue, Hammurabi claims to have been granted his rule by the gods to prevent the strong opposition of, to prevent the strong from oppressing the weak. The laws are casuistic, expert as if then condition sentences. Their scope is broad, including, for example, criminal law, family law, property law, and commercial law. Modern scholars responding to the code with admiration and its perceived fairness and respect for the rule of law. And at the complexity of the old Babylonian society, there was also much discussion of its influence on the Mosaic law. Scholars, Mosaic or Moses law, scholars quickly identified lex talionis, the eye for an eye principle underlying the two conditions. Debate among Assyriologists has since entered around several aspects of the code: its purpose, its underlying principles, its language, and its relation to earlier and later law collection. Despite the uncertainty surrounding these issues, Hammurabi is regarded outside Assyriology an important figure in the history of the law and the document as a true legal code. The U.S. Capitol has a relief portrait of Hammurabi alongside those of other historic lawgivers. There are replicas of the state in numerous institutions, including the headquarters of United Nations in New York City and the Pergamon Museum in Berlin. Hammurabi, as I told you, was the sixth king of the Amorite first dynasty of Babylon. Hammurabi had an aggressive foreign policy, but his letters suggest he was concerned with the welfare of his many subjects and was interested in the law and justice. He commissioned extensive construction works, and his letters he frequently presents himself as his people's shepherd. Justice is also a theme of prologue to the code, and the word translated justice is one of whose root runs through both prologue and the epilogue. Although Hammurabi code was the first Mesopotamian law collection to be discovered, it was not the first written. Several earlier collections survive. These collections were written in Sumerian and Akkadian. They also purport to have been written by rulers. There were almost certainly more such collections, as a statement of other rural suggested that customs widespread. The similarity between these laws collections make it tempting to assume a consistent underlying legal system, as were the code of Hammurabi. However, it is difficult to entrap the purpose and underlying legal system of these earlier collections, prompting numerous scholars to question whether this should be attempted. देखिए, Hammurabi, there are additionally thousands of documents from the practice of law from before and during the Old Babylonian period. These documents include contracts, judicial rulings, letters on legal cases, and reform documents such as that of Urkenigna, king of Lagash in the mid 30 million BC, whose reforms combated corruption. Mesopotamia was the most comprehensive survival legal corpus from the before the digest of Justinian, even compared to those from ancient Greek and Rome. Now we should read the laws of the Hammurabi. The Code of Hammurabi is the longest and best organized legal textbook from the ancient Near East, as well as the best purpose of legal area. We should offense against the administration of law, false charges, false testimony, falsification of a judgment. If a man accuses another man and charges him with homicide but cannot bring proof against him, his accuser shall be killed. Summa evilum ubirma netum. This is a Akkadian language. I cannot read this. Though I can read this, but I cannot understand. Property offenses. According to Hammurabi, stealing and receiving stolen property, kidnapping, harboring fugitive slaves, breaking and entering, burglary, looting, burning houses. If a man breaks into a house, they shall kill him and hang him in front of that every breach. This is the rule. Then third, land and houses, tenure of fiefs, duties of farmers, debts of farmers, irrigation offences, cattle trespass, cutting down trees, care of the dead or child, offence connected with the house. What were the if a man has a debt lodged against him and the storm God Adad devastated his field or a flood sweeps away the crops or there is no grain grown in the field due to insufficient water in that year, he will not repay grain to his creditor. He shall suspend performance of his contract literally, wet his clay tablet, and he will not give interest payment for that year. This is the law. Commerce, loans and trade. If a merchant should give silver to a trading agent for an investment venture, and he, the trading agent, incur a loss on his journey, he shall return silver to the merchant in the amount of the capital sum. Marriage and family. If a man takes an adoption a young child at birth, in literally its water and then rears him, the child will not be reclaimed. Assault. If an should blind the eye of another, they shall blind his eye. If a blender constructs a house for a man but does not make it conform to his specification, so that a wall then buckles, that builders shall make the wall sound using his silver. Agriculture. If an ox gores to death a man while it was passing through these trees, there is no legal basis for the claim. Ox bell. If a man rents a boat of 60 capacity, he shall give 1/6 of the silver per day at his hire. If a slave should declare to his master, "You are not my master," he, the master, shall bring charge and proof against him that he is indeed his slave, and his master shall cut off his ear. So, this is the policy of the Hammurabi. This is known as Lex Talionis, and this is the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 23-27, that the Jews are devastating these Islamic monasteries throughout the world. But our Prime Minister Narendra Yogi ji, however, claimed that his chest is 56 inches broad, but his activities does not like this or does not seem this, because he is only boasting that we will prepare for the revenge or retaliation from the Islamic monasteries. As you are well aware that all the Muslims are the Islamic monasteries, if they are following the real path of the Islam or real teaching of the so-called Prophet Muhammad, because Prophet Muhammad, as I told you earlier, was a professional robber, was a professional killer, and was a professional rapist. So our policy will be along with the policy of the Jews according to book of the Exodus and according to the Hammurabi, the sixth king of Amorite, first kingdom of Amorites, Hammurabi. Modi ji must be became Hammurabi or became a Jew who follow the book of Exodus. For lex talionis redirects as eye for an eye. Disambiguation or reciprocal justice. Lex talionis means an eye for an eye is a commandment, the law of extra retaliation. Latin lex talionis or reciprocal justice bears the same principle that a person who has injured other person to be penalized to a similar degree by the injured party. In software interpretation, it means the victim received the estimated value of injury in compensation. The intent behind the principle was to restrict compensation to the value of the losses. The term lex talionis does not always refer to literal eye for an eye courts of the justice, but rather applies to the broader class of legal system that formulate penalty for a specific crime. So this is the code of Hammurabi. Hammurabi was the great king, and if the Prime Minister Narendra Modi was a good person, he must become Hammurabi, and his policy, which is known as Lex Talionis, must be applied by Narendra Damodar Das Modi, our beloved Prime Minister of India, against the Islamic monsters, all the Islamic people, which whether they are living in India or abroad, they are traitors. Because according to Islam, the Muslims cannot be a friend of a Hindu, Jewish, Christian, or any non-Muslim. So the revenge must be taken in the hundred time. Retaliation must be taken 1,000 times as per Hammurabi, the mighty king of the Amorite kingdom. Narendra Modi must use the policy of lex talionis, or the reciprocal or the more powerful retaliation from any Islamic country, because Pakistan is a den of the goons and the holy Gurjam and the all Islamic followers who are following the teaching of the Islam as Prophet Muhammad did, so-called Prophet Muhammad. This filthy man policy is known as Islam, and all followers of Islam are filthy, najas, or very discarded people as per their habits and their criminal deeds. Thank you very much.